Hi there, welcome to United Everything Football Podcast. It's great to come your way. We said we'll come to you during the middle of the week, but Charlie, the stress is just too much. Combining work and recording podcasts is not easy. The last 2 days, anytime Kwame asks me, are we recording? By the time he sends the message, I'm almost gone. I'm asleep. Kwame, great to have you back.
Eventually, you made it.
Eventually. Today, if I had not made it, the people would have lynched me. You really set us up. Going to ask people what we should talk about. So we are here to talk about.
He's the one who yes. I see.
Kwame is the one who did that. He was forcing the podcast to happen. So we are here. Mami, great to have you back.
Thank you very much, guys. I'm pleased to be back. I've really enjoyed my time here so far. So
yeah. As for here, when you come,
let's keep it going.
Let me brag. As for here, when you come, you enjoy yourself. As for here,
for sure. Practice.
All right, you know what to do. Remember to hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We are here to talk a lot more about the updates on what's going on. Just before we started the recording, a David Onsen update came in, which said that Bryan Mbeumo has notified Tottenham Hotspurs and Brentford that if he's to leave this summer, the only club he wants to play for is Manchester United. The further updates indicate that our second bid still falls below the valuation of Brentford. However, talks are ongoing to ensure there is a resolution. Prior to that yesterday, a lot of the news was that a fee had been agreed. However, it had to do with the add-ons and what so not. Anyway, and that a medical will be happening next week. But as it stands, it looks as if there is still some few things to sort out with regards to the price. Brentford probably wants a lot more money. We'll be discussing that as well as other issues, especially the outgoings, and then we'll zoom straight into what you asked us to talk about. So we'll go in there, we'll pick a few of them because there were quite many. We can't do that. But we encourage you to bring a lot more so we could have a discussion. The things that are bothering you, send them ahead of time so we could spend some few time, looking at it and discussing them. So we bring you a lot more joy in your homes. Let's make a quick turnaround. When I come back, I'll get to Mami and Kwame, and then we'll discuss everything here on United and Everything Football. All right, thank you very much. Welcome back to United and Everything Football. So let's set the ball rolling. Let me start with Mami. I just went on social media and I saw another friend of mine called Mami. She's pissed that United are still delaying the whole Mbeumo saga. But you know this same friend of mine, if United overpays and it doesn't work, she will be the first person to go and hold their neck. Why have you overpaid? And I'm sure she's not the only person. A lot of United fans probably are there and asking, why are you delaying this saga? But what's your general thoughts on this Bryan Mbeumo thing and how long it is taking to get a deal over the line?
Okay, so, well, for me, I think the Cunha deal may have set a precedent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe they could have halted the Cunha deal, seeing as his price was a set release clause, right? And it's like they weren't going to budge on it. So why not deal with the transfers that were going to be based on the negotiation powers, right? So I think it looks like Brentford are trying to hold up for 63 million upfront and not 55 or 57 with a few add-ons. So they are kind of pegging the transfer to the Cunha deal. And we are getting the best players for these particular teams. Like for these two teams, Cunha was who's best player. For Brentford, Mbeumo is their best player. I think so. So they are clubs priced assets, so they set the price. And United are afraid if they I mean, just accept the fee that Brentford are demanding. When it comes to subsequent transfers, they may be held to ransom
Mm.
and they wouldn't have any negotiation power. So it's a bit touch and go. It depends on, I don't know if we are just hustling for nothing. It looks like they won't accept it. Let's just pay and move on. I mean, we need these guys to come in before a preseason starts. So if you would pay it eventually, why stress us for like 2-3 weeks doing accept, reject?
And end
Like
up
it
paying.
won't go anywhere. Like and this guy keeps telling others it's only United I'm going to, so just rest wherever you are. I'm not staying. Okay, if I'm going somewhere, it's only to United. Just pay the money and let's go on. I mean, it's like, see, I think Brentford wants to tell us all our add-ons are bullshit. Like we won't win the league, so what is the add-on for the league for? We won't win the Champions League. Why are we putting in a clause for when we win the Champions? Just set realistic add-ons and let's move forward. Like let's just pay. At this point, I'm tired. Let's just pay. If there was a serious club involved, we would have been in trouble.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can't drag your feet for this long. It looks like we are the only ones in there.
Yeah.
It's what 57 plus add-ons. Just pay
55.
everything
We've
up
done
front.
55
We
plus.
did
I've just
55
watched
plus add-ons.
55
They
plus
rejected.
7.5. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we've done 57 plus something, and they are still saying no. Let's just get on with it. Somebody has paid 115 and they are moving on. Let's just get on with it and go. We seriously we need the guys before preseason because we don't want any excuses from Mr. Amorim that the goods didn't come out.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've started seeing news that he wants them in before. We don't want any stories that they came in when preseason had already started and so they weren't able to blend in or whatever. No, no excuses. Just give him the goose, set him up, and let's see if he does well or not. Then we can judge him properly. Yeah, that's my
Uh,
submission.
uh,
I'm tired of that saga.
yeah, I've had a good house. Oh, my bit tired. Kwame,
Yeah.
do you agree with my
is,
bit position?
is there more to add? There's nothing more to add. You said it. There's absolutely nothing else to add. See, the United tax,
Yeah,
whatever you do,
you can't beat it.
whatever you do, if you are Ineos, you are Pineos, you are Tinios, you are whatever that you are, it's still going to take a while before you beat it. And
Yeah.
we set ourselves up. You know, you go do a deal for a player who has had a similar season. In fact,
the other one
Mbeumo has had a better season.
better season.
Better.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you do, if you remember that deal, we wanted to do this, what do you call it? 5 years. We wanted to split the fee over a 5-year period.
Mhm.
And Wolves were like, hold on here.
We are not doing that with you.
We are not playing.
Here.
We don't do those. We don't play those games. So
They were like,
you have,
it's okay, we'll pay.
you have to pay a huge chunk up front. And we at the end of the day, we agreed within like hours. If you remember what happened that day.
It was just
It was like they rejected it in the morning.
Yes,
And then in some hours, we changed the bid. They were like, oh, we'll pay. So if Brentford are looking at us buckling that way in a matter of hours, they'll simply be looking at United going like, but these people, they are going to pay everything to Wolves. And for us, like Mami was saying, they're telling us if he scores this number of goals or wins this trophy or does this thing before, blah, blah, blah. When supposedly these players are similar, we may even argue our asset is better. So eventually all you are going to do is you just have to pay the 62.5. I just think it's not even going to be more than that. Just forget about these add-ons games you're doing. 62.5. Tell them that you want to do 5 years.
Just give them
the same 5-year offer. And then they go like, okay, no, maybe you have to pay 20 million upfront amortization, and then we just move on from there. 3 years, and then we just move. Eventually, you're going to pay. I hope, like Mami is saying, that this deal goes over the line before preseason, because it seems the focus is this team couldn't score goals. So we want to give the coach goals. When you give the coach goals, then there are no more excuses. It's as simple as that. No more excuses. Me say, I don't. There's nothing. I just don't want the situation where we go like, and then we didn't do this, and then we didn't do this for him. As for him, I know he'll come and sit here and smile, that his fake smile and say that, we couldn't score and we didn't bring players in 2 weeks to time. No. At least give him a couple of forwards. Next in line, I'm sure is the subject we're going to talk about, which is the striker.
Yeah.
A striker would probably walk through the door right at the start of preseason.
Yeah.
Your attack is solved. The rest is just touches here and there. Touches here and there. And then we are good to go.
Anyway,
so yeah.
So that's it. But before we touch on the attack a bit, I'll get straight to some of the things that people asked us to talk about. Someone asked, let me open it here. Someone asked, David, that's Amache Boensi, David. After Mbeumo, which position should we prioritize next? Striker, midfielder, or a goalkeeper? Mami, your thoughts?
So I'm kind of conflicted between striker and midfield. And I'm really concerned. It doesn't look like we are looking at reinforcing in midfield. I haven't seen any names come up, with the exception of Ederson towards the early part of the window. I haven't heard anything. I think yesterday too another name came up, or today, Felix in Mecha, Dortmund.
Yeah, Dortmund.
Any Dortmund boots come with an asterisk, so I have my own doubt. But I would like to see concrete links to a midfielder, unless they are banking all their eggs on Ugarte making a huge turnaround. Other than that, we would need reinforcements in midfield. But for last season, and I think even for the two players we've bought, Mbeumo and Cunha, I don't want to say the striker position is not a necessity, but because we do need that focal point. So I think we should get one. But even if we don't get the Gyökeres and the Osimhens, we can at least get the local goods. Watkins and those other center forwards who are nearing like 29, 30.
And all of that.
Yeah. Mateta, I don't think he will come. So I don't even want to say Mateta. So Watkins and some other forwards, none of them is coming to mind now. But for example, Watkins, and I am sure Cunha and Mbeumo would provide support by way of goals, so that we would have the numbers to chip in from Bruno and the others. So striker position needs to be reinforced, but I'm not against going for the low budget ones as against Gyökeres and Osimhen and co. So that maybe next year, if the center forward market is a bit much better with more quality, then we can look at reinforcing with a youngster who can bang in the goals. Not a youngster, but somebody who is already prolific, right, and can just fill in the gap straight away. Then maybe afterwards we can look at the midfield. Goalkeeping is, I wouldn't be angry if they don't reinforce, even though I would want them to, right? Because I don't think Onana gives that level of confidence that the backline needs. And the coach would have to take a very good look at his setup, the set pieces, how they set up, so that it doesn't display his weaknesses and all that, so that all those gaps are plugged, and that at least we don't ship in goals as easily as we did last season. So that we score 4 and they have to score us 3 because every chance is a goal. And that's what Onana brings to. So hopefully if reinforcements are made in other positions, at least the back setup and tactical positions are looked at, so that all the gaps are sealed. So for me, striker, the center forward position first, and then midfield before goalkeeper. The last would be the goalkeeper.
The last would be goalkeeper. All right. So that's what Mami thinks. Mami, I won't come to you. I'll give you a different one. Someone is asking, are we relying on Onana and Casemiro in the coming season? Kwame.
You see, Amorim said something.
And this is by Delati, yes.
Amorim said something at when this press conference, the Asia tour. The thing we did at Asia Tour, concerning our window, that there's a lot to do, but we can't fix everything. That's the reality of it. The reality of it is, fans should not forget, we did not qualify for Champions League football. We are at a huge disadvantage here. Not just in terms of the players would want to target, but also financially, the things may not be as feasible as we would want things to be. So what we should know is we would end up with being sold a bit short in terms of the positions we have to address. So some players that we very well would want to get rid of may have to stay this season. And as part of the rebuilding process, they let go next season. A couple of those names are the Casemiros and then the Onanas. If the opportunity does arise with departures, for instance, then we can address those positions. This club has been trying to get rid of Casemiro for over 12 months. This is the third window.
Yes.
There is either a lack of interest from other clubs, or the player himself is not showing any signs that he wants to leave. Casemiro is sitting on a fortune. He's sitting on Saudi Arabia wages at Manchester United. You would need to use an articulator to be able to remove him. This player, a lot of people, that's why I have issues with people simply commending him for his behavior and his attitude, while just being comfortable on the bench and biding his time and playing himself back into the team. This is a player who has achieved everything in football and doesn't have much to lose. If he's living here, there are only two things that is going to happen. Either he's going to Brazil or he's going to Saudi Arabia. He's not going to any other club higher than Manchester United in Europe. It's not going to happen. He's at the tail end of his career. So it's either the club decides to compensate him to leave, or he just waits out his contract, works for free and takes a signing on bonus and goes elsewhere. Let's not play this game where we think players and their agents are angels. They know what they are doing. So he's not going anywhere. And we've not had any concrete interest yet in the third window running, so he's not moving. And I feel the midfield situation, like Mami was saying, is not on top of their priority list because somebody like Casemiro, with his wages, is still around. If Casemiro was to move today, Manchester United would go in for a high-end, expensive central midfielder because the wages and everything would make sense, including the transfer fee. But we are at the situation where we've decided to prioritize other positions because you'd have to wait out for Casemiro to leave that space open for you to be able to fill it. The issue with Onana is simply the same too. We bought him for a huge amount of money for a goalkeeper with high expectations. Unfortunately, after 2 seasons, he's not been up to it. Yet, the amortized fee that he has left, with the number of years he has on his contract, is still huge. And it would take a huge offer for him to move from there. And mind you, it's also a huge wages for a goalkeeper. Kepa signed an 8-year contract at Chelsea. He ended up exhausting almost the 8 years. Chelsea had to extend the +1 to be able to get £5 million. All you're doing was loans at Real Madrid and loans here and loans there. The most expensive goalkeeper in the world. Yet at the end of the day, after they bought him for over £70 million, they got only £5 million back. And he's going to be backup goalkeeper at Arsenal. So it's not just an easy situation of just, sell Onana. The club has to make some money. Otherwise, Onana is not going anywhere. Bayende is there liking tweets about Tom Heaton getting a contract extension and you're a legend here. Do you think he feels like, does he look like somebody who feels like he's moving? So it's either we are going to pile on players. That is exactly the situation that Manchester United wants to avoid. That is why you still hear rumors of we need to sell players before. It's not for FFP or PSR reasons. It's simply for cash and due diligence reasons. We don't want to play that game where, you go and buy a new goalkeeper. You don't end up selling Onana. Bayende doesn't. Then you have 4 goalkeepers. Then what do? You're going to loan out Onana or Bayende, end up paying their wages as well. Like how Chelsea have been doing for Kepa for the past 8 years. And eventually got rid of him for 2 series. So it's a fine balancing act. I don't want Andre Onana to be our starting goalkeeper. But if a club is not willing to come in for him, and he is not willing to move because it's two ends. A player can decide to pull a Sancho and say, I'm not going. Monaco can decide they are interested, but if I'm not going to Monaco, I'm not downgrading. I'm not going to take less wages. What can you do?
What people forget is that he has even bought a new house at Manchester.
He's not moving. In my opinion, I don't think he's moving. The best hope for us, because the club, what I admire about our transfer window, despite it's been slow, is we are making inquiries about the positions that we would ideally want to fill. I think we've spoken to Atlanta, made an inquiry about their goalkeeper. That's where agents and certain clubs are making a lot of noise about United, which is sort of, we're getting this misinformation. The club has short-term and long-term targets. We can talk to you or make an inquiry about the services of your player now. It doesn't necessarily mean we want to buy that player now, but it is a position that we have to prepare ourselves for, either for January or next summer. So we put in a word now to know that, yeah, eyes and ears are around. You get what I'm saying? And that we are looking for a goalkeeper. Indirectly, it also sends a message to the agents of the players and the players themselves who are at the club in those positions to know that we are not content with you, we are not happy with you. And if you do not step up, you do not improve, we are looking to actually move you on. You get it? So, unfortunately, I think Casemiro would stay. I call it unfortunate. I don't care. I don't use recency bias when it comes to Casemiro. The Casemiro situation, let's not pretend. Last summer, when rumors has it that he dropped out of the FA Cup squad because we didn't pick him and blah blah blah. People want to pretend as if he's been an angel all this while. Then in the summer, we were trying to move him to Saudi Arabia. He didn't even give a damn. 2 summers ago, he came in fat like a kebab seller. A lot of things have happened. But the past 4 or 5 months, people want to pretend like, hey, Casemiro, sorry.
He has become the best friend of the coach. The coach's best friend.
I don't even think he's a fit for the Premier League. As for the coach, we have issues. But you know me, I said I've decided to put him aside. I'm just addressing Ineos and then the players and everything now. But the coach, when we get players, then I'll start to talk about Amarim, but not now. So that's the issue.
Anyway.
In order of priority, just to back up my point, in order of priority, it is clear we want to give the manager goals. Yes. So striker. What we are hearing is if we are able to move on more players, a goalkeeper leaves, we would want to address the goalkeeping position. What we are also hearing is ideally we would want an athletic number 8, but that would also depend on departures. Lastly is the full-back positions, but that is like in the nosebleeds. It's like we have numbers in those positions, but the quality in the position is the issue. We are struggling to move on someone like Taro Malacia. If you are not moving on Taro Malacia, how are you adding another Luke Shaw? How are you adding another left back? Do you know how many left backs will be left?
The United admin had the audacity to post 11 years of Luke Shaw.
I can't believe it. It feels like he's had only 3 good seasons in 11 years. But this is the list of left backs. Let me list them for you. You have Dogu, who is the project signing. You would have Harry Amas, Taro Malacia, Luke Shaw, Diogo Leon.
Yeah.
So you'll be thinking, but we need 4 backs, but then you have 4 backs. You actually have 4 backs. It's just that a lot of them are not very good right now. But if you don't move them, how do you justify adding another player? That's the issue. So players must go. Otherwise, a lot of the players that we are upset with or don't want to see, we will see them next season.
Okay. All right. We'll move on to another one. Mami, this one goes for you.
Sure.
And now Kwejo manifests. He says, I think we should consider Jonathan David as a striker's target. Mami, do you agree with this assertion by Nana Kwejo manifests?
So I might be biased here. Not biased, maybe not the required level of knowledge about the player. I haven't watched Jonathan David. I don't know. I'm not sure I've watched much of Leo's matches, so I'm not really sure how he has the goals, but I don't know how he would perform. He would just be another Zexi or Hoyland to me. I don't know if he will be able to make the step up for me. So I don't know. I'm
That,
undecided about
that's
Jonathan David.
that's a very fair assessment. I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I'll throw it to you too. Your thoughts on Jonathan? Because I personally have not seen enough of his overall gameplay except for the start. Honestly,
Yeah.
I have been wondering for weeks
Mhm.
why someone like that, with the numbers he's had over the past 3 years, in a difficult league, because let's respect the French league, it's not that bad.
Mhm.
In fact, the champions of Europe is PSG. Let's
Mhm.
put the respect that league actually deserves
Yes,
right now. When
yes.
we need players, that is where everybody farms. We pretend as if it's the farmers' league, but then it's a good farm.
The athletic midfielder, that's where we are going to take them from.
Where else? Where else? Where else should you go? I've just been wondering why that even the Italian clubs who like free stuff,
Yeah.
the Inter Milan, the AC Milan,
Inter is also
how
looking
come?
for a striker, but they are not. Even Napoli, he's not even agreeing with Napoli. I don't know what's happening.
That's what I'm saying. That why is it that what's the flag here? What am I missing? Because I've seen him score all manner of goals. See that the time I watched him the most was the past season's Champions League. You know, his team had a good run in the Champions League up until the knockout phase. The group stage they caused a few stares, and he was scoring goals. He was banging in goals everywhere. And like you guys have said, his stats back him, but for some odd reason, nobody seems to be willing to take a punt on him. And United's situation is such that if there are flags that the ordinary men like us we don't see, it is not us that we are going to take that risk and then go and take. Considering how vital that position is to us, let us not take that chance, right? Mame rightly said that if we are not going to get the names that the two big names that everybody is mentioning, we should look to within the league. And it takes me to our striker situation so far. Let me just summarize our striker situation so far because it's the next one.
Yes.
Let's be honest. We're not going to sign any. The next signing you see after Mbeumo is a striker.
Yeah.
As to which striker, only God knows. But what has been the striker situation our chase so far? In summary, Manchester United wanted the lap. The lap was our number one target. That had been made clear. He was our number one target, and he turned us down.
Were you happy? Were you happy about that decision? Him being the number one target.
It means you've not been watching the podcast as frequently.
I know you disagree. That's why I'm asking. But
Okay.
I don't think he's that bad. And I'm saying because for Cunha and Mbeumo, he would have that support. So I don't think he would have been a bad option.
Well, the past is the past.
I
We
know you
can't change
disagree.
it. Well, the past is the past. You can whether we wanted or we didn't want, we didn't get. And he rejected us.
We've been saved from ourselves, eh? I remember
We've been
that.
saved for ourselves. He's rejected us. Okay, so fine. But then the other striker that everybody seems to want besides him happens to be Gyökeres, right? I mean, if it's only fair that if we didn't have him as our first choice, he can also go and go like, if you didn't want me as your first choice, why should you be my first choice? Right?
Yeah.
It's fair. In my opinion, it's fair. I mean, we rejected him. He's rejected us back. But at the end of the day, it's possible that there could be a marriage of convenience, as they call it. So you just end up with each other. But my question is, why didn't Manchester United have Gyökeres as first choice in the first place? It just seemed common sense to everybody. That's, I mean, natural order.
Yeah.
You are coming from a club that you've literally made a striker out of. Everybody's talking about that striker, and you need a striker. Why not him? And you had somebody else who is relatively unproven as your first choice. We got some information from the United Stand. This Portuguese journalist gave some insights. I've forgotten his name or the station or the channel he works for, but he gave an insight to Beth as to the relationship between Amorim and Delap. Apparently, this is the second time that Delap has bounced him. when he was in the Championship, before he came into the Premier League, you know the history between Amorim and Gyökeres is they got him from the
From the
Championship, the
champion.
gym.
Yes. Yeah.
So they wanted to repeat that trick because they knew that very soon Gyökeres would leave the football club. And Amorim wanted the lap from Ipswich at Sporting Lisbon. This was before he came into the Premier League. So they had been tracing him for quite some time now as a substitute or a replacement for the imminent departure of Gyökeres. And so he comes into the Prem and the lap is in the Prem and doing well in the Prem. So he decides, you know what? I've been going for this guy for quite a while. He's doing well in the Prem. So why don't we go for him instead? The other reason is he had spoken clearly to the board, and that was revealed or confirmed by Rich Fay, that he wants Premier League proven players as an order of priority.
Yeah.
So this is a player who has proven himself in the Premier League. That is why he chose him as his first choice. And the club concurred based off the fact that the age was good, the price was good.
Yes.
And the potential.
And the potential to be the future Harry Kane was good. It sort of fits with you going for young players. So if that is what you want, we also concur because he ticks all the other boxes in terms of what this project is supposed to be.
Yeah.
So they all came to the conclusion that this player should be the first choice. So it debunks the whole theory that it was just because of the small release clause, because it wasn't about the money. If it was about the money, Manchester United just moved on from being bounced by the lap to chasing an even more expensive signing in Mbeumo, of whom Brentford even want more money than the 62.5 million that we've ordered. So that money could have easily gone into a Gyökeres chase. That's what I'm trying to make. If Gyökeres was somebody that we had prioritized ahead of Edelap.
Anyway,
because if you believe what's his name, Laurie Withwell said, it's that our chase of Mbeumo is a reaction to being bounced by the lab. Not that he was part of the original plan. We were like, oh, if we are bounced, we need goals. Yeah. So if one Premier League goals, this is somebody we can go in for. He can play as a striker, he can play as a number 10, he can do whatever. So let's get him now. And we are going to end up paying far more than we would have spent on the lab. So it's not about the budget, it's not about the money.
Anyway,
so that's our striker situation.
That's the striker situation. Kwame has sort of summarized everything that's happening around that area, and it has answered a few questions because someone was like, "That's MLS Lawrence." He was asking why we need to move on from Gyökeres. Well, a marriage of convenience probably would happen. We never know, but it looks as if
he has bounced us, so we have to bounce back.
But you first.
He can't disrespect us for us now. Like,
but you bounced him first. No, Mama, let's end this.
No,
It's
not a bounce if you haven't quoted you. It's not like we came to ask you and we later withdrew. We didn't even come at all. It's not a bounce. We just didn't add you.
But hold on. So he too is also going like, okay, but you people have heard that you people probably are doing some things in the background, but hold on. My priority is Arsenal.
Anyway, let me go for my break. Let me go for my break. When I come back from the break, we have a few more things. We have 3 more things to talk about. There are 2 questions, and then we'll discuss outgoings here on United and Everything Football Podcast. We'll be right back after this. All right, welcome back to United and Everything Football Podcast. So we have about 3 more things to talk about. But remember, pause the video, give us some likes, right? Give us some likes. It's very important. And subscribe. But you guys are forcing, the subscription, you are forcing. We see it in there.
Oh, they are trying, pa. They are trying. They are trying, pa.
It tells us we are doing something good. So thank you very much. Anyway, so this question, I'll start with Kwame. John Mertok, that's from Ni Ashi. John Mertok and Jason Wilcox, what is your observation and opinion on both of them and how they run their club? Kwame.
Wilcox had too little a time for me to compare or sing his praises, so I'll not compare. But we all know the work that Mertok did. At the end of the day, it wasn't good enough. we have to give. Let's be honest. Wilcox just became our sporting director yesterday. Just a few hours ago, he just became our sport. So, what are we going to use to compare? What you can do is give him a season.
Yeah.
Because this project is only 1 year into its birth. Give it another year, where he's like being the boss. 2 years, we can use 2 years to compare to Meto. So it's 4 years, 4 seasons, right?
Yeah.
Meto was there for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
That's when we can begin to compare. At this moment, we are not singing any Jason Wilcox praises. I'm sorry.
What's your thoughts?
Same. And yes, and even for John Metal, at least if we have nothing to judge him for handling Luke Shaw a new contract, he should suffer death by hanging.
Death by hanging or coming.
That
Criminal offense.
that entire board, they deserve to be laid in public and wait. See, they've set us back about 10 years. But we trust God. We'll turn things around.
I was telling someone that, see, in as much as Ineos have been goofing along the way over the past 12 months, let's be honest and fair to ourselves.
Yeah.
We were not going to use 12 months to fix over a decade of mess.
Yeah. That's a fair thing to say.
See, the Chelsea project, and Kwame, I know you are not really a big fan of me making this comparison, but I'll always do it. I'll not stop doing it. See the way it picked. You can't tell me that it hasn't picked. But in the first 2 years, it has.
Mami, let's not go into another debate now. You relax.
Look at the money they are making from the Club World Cup alone self be enough. But see,
that one, it wasn't them.
It wasn't them. They are not already qualified.
Hold on. Let me finish my point. Their first 2 years looked chaotic. It didn't look like they even knew what they were doing at all. Okay. Let's be honest. They were all over the place. Their transfer policy was all over the place. But then they streamlined things after a couple of years to go like, this is now what we want to do. We want to go the youth way. Right? Finished 12th. Finished, was it 6th? The season before last.
Yes,
6th. Eventually finished 4th. Yeah. You cannot tell me if you are doing any form of analysis in terms of whether we are making any progress over the past 3 years that we've come, that they've not been making an upward trajectory. Their league positions show. Ultimately, too, they've added a trophy at the end of the day. They have ended their trophy drought that existed before they even came. I think the last time they won a trophy was the Champions League.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They've gone into the Club World Cup. They are making more money. They are making more strides. And when you look at their PSL situation, it's the healthiest in the league. They will take a lot of positives from that. All I'm trying to say is, when you compare the situation that we have also started the first year under complete chaos, where we've been making bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. When it comes to the pitch, not off the pitch. Off the pitch, they have been doing a lot of cleanup work. I bet the fact that a lot of people are not happy about the way that they have handled it. Some decisions that they have taken have had to be taken.
Yeah.
In anybody who is into finance or business, or who has had any background in these kind of organizations where people have to be lived off for the business to be sustainable, it is normal. It happens. It does happen. People are laid off all the time. When you have to make cuts, you make cuts. They are doing things that the Glazers should have done over their past 20 years at Manchester United within a very short space of time. Right? What you hope is that after all this chaos and all the bad decisions, just like Chelsea, and I'll go back to it, we will begin to see an upward trajectory in terms of how the team is performing in the league places. We are 15th. You want to see a jump. Apparently, they are saying top 6 is enough. Me, I don't buy into that top 6 nonsense. But eventually, if we do end up in European football, they would see it as progress. 2027, they would want to probably be in the Champions League. They will continue to see that as progress. In 2028, the key dates, what is it? Project 150 or Project 650 or 750?
Project 150.
Yes, they hope to be able to win the league. So the Ineos project has got off to a somewhat shambolic start, but you want to see that sort of upward trajectory.
We did here. We did here.
It's not like I'm. It's not like I
pray
wouldn't
for
want
their
Chelsea to fail.
downfall.
Of course, I want Chelsea to fail, but the fact is the fact. I'm just looking at their trajectory, and it's just upwards. It's there. You will see it.
See,
The graph. The graph
when
shows this way. It doesn't show this way.
are
It
you?
shows this way.
When it comes to these tragedy,
It will crash. It will crash because there's just
I'll be
too
here for
much
it, and I
going on.
absolutely love it. This is not even humble. This wouldn't even be humble pie. This is what we all want. So what's the big deal?
Anyway, let's move on.
Right.
Let me take the last one. Okay, so I think the last one has to do with the MLS Lawrence George. He's talking about looking at Douglas Luiz and selling of Garnacho and Rashford. He says we should look at these ones. We've tackled the Rashford and Garnacho issues severally. I'm sure the MLS, if you watch the previous episodes, even the last episode, I think we touched on that particular transfer. So you can catch it up on the but on Douglas Luiz, that one, let me take it myself.
Yes.
Douglas Luiz is not a Douglas Luiz of the guy is getting injured, and in fact, he doesn't fit the profile that we actually want now. That's energetic, athletic, mobile, and he's not that. He's had a very underwhelming time at Juventus, and there's a reason no Premier League side or most Premier League sides are not even banking on him at the moment. So please, that one there.
Oh, you left out his injury record. People should just go to transfer market and check his injury record.
He had a very bad injury record. I mean, he was barely playing and all of that. So I get his Premier League proven and all of that, but I feel we can do better than Douglas Luiz. I think we can do
I've heard people suggest, why don't we get him on loan?
No.
Because it is better to have a body in there than to actually not have a central midfielder signed at all. That is the argument some people have.
Let Casemiro sit there. If it's bodies. Anyway, but
I agree. And we also have one match a week for the most part.
So he should sit somewhere. He should sit at his Juve with his girlfriend.
What we really need in that midfield, if you're not going to add anybody, is for Ugarte to step up. I think it's why we bought him.
I think maybe that's what they are banking on.
Yeah.
See, if Ugarte was playing well, we wouldn't be talking about any midfielder. Trust me, we will not be talking about any midfielder.
That's the point. Because one game a week there, he should be able to step up, and he's barely injured. He's a player who is barely injured as well. So we'll see. We hope that he would have had an appreciation of the league and would have made the necessary adjustment to his game to be able to suit that. Today I saw him running so heavily on the treadmill. Said the players have started posting something. And on that note, Kwame, before we come to the last thing that we'll talk about, which is the outgoings, which a lot of people have mentioned here, it's Kobe Menu. Kobe Menu is bulking. Mami, I don't know if you've seen him.
I saw him and Lenny.
He's become something.
He needs it. He needs it. He's too weak. He really needs to sit up when it comes to fitness.
Yeah.
Because last season he was running around the pitch like an old man, and I don't really want him to fall down. That he really needs to sit up for me.
This is where I have a problem. This is where I have a problem with him bulking up.
If he loses,
it's sports science. See, there's a science behind bulking up. When you bulk up, see, have you seen 100-meter runners compared to long distance runners? Long distance runners are slight, right? Not with a lot of muscle mass. It's because they bank on their stamina, not necessarily their sprint or speed.
Yeah.
It's about how long you are able to last on the on the track. To be able to, it's a mind game. It's an ability to last a long period of time. When you are bulky, right, you are good at short sprints. You don't go the long haul. In a very short space of time, there's a buildup of lactic acid. There's a whole science behind it, and you become tired. You can't run anymore. And like Mame was saying, the issue with him was he was running like what? An old man. People. I personally put it down to the fact that the system had a lot of flaws, both under both coaches, where there are too many gaps for them to cover, right? Ideally, if we're more compact and we knew what we're doing on a football pitch, those gaps wouldn't exist. So those flaws wouldn't be so apparent. But he can't cover ground. The issue I have with Menu, it's not with him being able to stay on the ball. I think he even tries to prove he's too strong by staying on the ball for too long. The issue with him is, can he run? When Amarim we had this 1 week or 2 weeks time to train the players.
Yeah.
And apparently the report was that he was running them ragged in training. What happened to Kobe Mino? He tore his hamstring, was out for 3 months.
He got injured, yeah.
It's not about the physical impact at that time. It's about whether you have the legs to be able to run, the stamina, that's the word, to go up and down for this coach in this system. When we lose the ball, can you quickly track back? Not look labored and tired.
But the way Menu runs is funny. Like he's
so relaxed. He's like some Pogba without what we got from Pogba. Like he's too relaxed. He's too chill.
It's so good you've brought up Paul Pogba in this, because earlier on I was making this Paul Pogba comparison in our private group. With this Kobe Menu situation. What the build-up of muscle can do for him is improve the short bursts, the sprints. You get what I'm trying to say? When he has the ball. Off the ball, I don't think bulking up too much is even a good thing for him. It could rather affect slow him down. You get what I'm trying to say? So I just hope he has the right people in his corner trying to manage him and manage his body right now, because he's deliberately bulking up. This is not a growth spurt. There's a difference. There's a difference between having a growth spurt where all of a sudden, this guy looks big, but you can see he's putting in the work to deliberately bulk up.
But I'm hoping, based on Amorim's comments, he would have, or his team would have given him some form of guidance on what to do to get to that level. I don't think it would be something he should be doing independently. I hope he has a coach for that, and he's not just doing a private thing.
I hope so too. The reason I'm so concerned is it's Manchester United. You would think that you have people who know exactly what they are doing. But unfortunately, many a player have been ruined at this football club, especially post Alex Ferguson, where you would think, you should know what you're doing. But anyway, it seems like we don't seem to know what we are doing. So when I see him walking up, it's clear, I see it. But I'm sitting there thinking about the sports science of it, and I feel a little bit concerned that maybe he may be getting the priorities wrong. Or there is a program, there is a plan where they go like, okay, you build up your mass so that you can be able to do this short bursts, and then we would work on your stamina when proper preseason starts. Because if the reports are to be believed, we were playing him in the number 10 and all that because we realized that in midfield he wasn't really ready yet to do that kind of work. You get what I'm saying? But ultimately, this is where we see his future to be in that midfield, and that the club plans to be able to work on his stamina to be able to play in that position. So let's just hope this is a plan, a program where they go like, build your muscle mass so that you can have the short sprints to start with. Do well on the ball like a Paul Pogba does well on the ball. Paul Pogba's problem wasn't with the football. It was without the football. With the football, he's blowing past people. So probably they want to go like, with the football, you want him to be able to blow past people easily. You get what I'm trying to say? Run with the ball, drive through midfield easily. Because that's what we're looking for in the market. A midfielder who is athletic and can literally just drive with the football. So build that part. And when proper preseason starts, enough of the muscle work. Now we are looking to get your wind into you all the time so that you're able to chase around and run without the football. And that I think is where the problem is. With too much muscle, Kwame, you can't do it. It's just, it's basic, it's simple.
Anyway,
if you put a boxer, you don't use muscle. Anthony Joshua.
Yes.
If you want to beat Anthony Joshua, make sure you are in it by round 6, round 7, because from then he's not going to fight any proper fight. He's done. He's finished. If you are not knocked out by then, you are beating him. You have a good chance of actually beating him. Yeah, let me see. Just stay in the fight.
It's
I'm
how
on
to
the
get to the sixth round. That's
That's the issue.
problem.
Yes, so Kobe Menu will start again for you giddy, 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 giddy. By 20th minute, then he's just panting for oxygen. I don't want that situation for the boy because the boy's situation is so delicate right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's delicate right now because I don't want him to be ruined. I think there's a player in there, but I don't want a situation where in a year or two he is completely irrelevant.
Yeah,
and then the Manchester United will have to sell him to a bottom tier Premier League club like Eddie Nketiah. He ends up at Crystal Palace somewhere, and then all the high hopes that we had for him. Because last year was terrible. From the year before, all the highs.
There's a World Cup. There is a World Cup coming
out of the England squad. You know, then they say it doesn't have a position. In
the
this
position
team.
in the system too is worrying. It doesn't look like we have a place for him in there.
This system. I don't want to big ups. No, I'm bigging up Kobirino, but
this system with the fact that Bruno seems to have locked down the other position in midfield is very worrying. Because if he was up there, then we would have two midfield positions.
You can't. Why do you even play Bruno in midfield and then play Kobe Mino as a 10? So what are you? But I'll get into the system.
Because Bruno runs. Bruno can run all day. Well, 180 minutes, he'll run all day. Bruno doesn't get tired.
Let's make progress.
You will get into the system when we start.
The season. So let's look at the outgoings. Rami's best friend. I'll start with him. I won't give you the opportunity to talk about him. Don't worry. There is no need to talk about him.
Who? Rashford?
Oh no. The other guy.
The other one.
Garnacho?
The Rock of Ages. The main one.
Sancho. Oh, Sancho. Oh no! In my mind, Sancho and Anthony are gone, so I'm not bothered about it. Like it's not because of hate or anything. I know they will be sold before.
Sancho can still.
Oh no! It won't happen, Mommy. This one,
it's not staying.
It will never happen.
It's not staying.
Never happen.
See, it's like he just wants to cause our downfall, so he wouldn't even go off the books.
No, he's showing us Pepe.
Yeah, that's why I think he might even want to go. Like he might even want to stay because it's like he wants us to. I don't know.
I think what the club
is something. His lack of ambition is something else. So you clearly.
I think the club would want to solve that problem just like they solved the Mason Greenwood problem last season for him to go. Like they know that eventually he has 1 year left on his contract. So it's not like it's not a situation where we are going like, oh, he can come in, start pre-season, we'll see how it goes, whether you be part of the team or not, like how they did last summer. This is a case where we need to get rid of the player. We need to sell the player because we need to make money. You get what I'm saying? And he's not part of the future plan. Why do you worry the new coach with him being around? So what they're going to do is do a Mason Greenwood.
Yeah.
Probably not. Don't even come for the start of preseason. Mason Greenwood didn't start preseason.
Yeah.
He was sold 2 weeks into preseason.
Hang around. Greenwood didn't come again. He didn't even come. I'm not sure he even stepped into quarantine.
What I'm trying to say is we started the preseason 2 weeks into it, and then he was sold. I'm trying to say there will be a similar situation with Sancho where he would not be brought back in like how everybody else comes in on the first day. We'll go like, hang on, we are trying to resolve this issue with you. In a couple of weeks, you are gone.
Anyway,
Amorim doesn't have to see your face and deal with this whole drama. No.
People are asking. Let me ask you this: people are asking why we are finding it difficult to sell players. Someone asked in the this thing actually. He said that has it been difficult for us to sell our players? Why?
Do they have to ask? You've been United fans for so long. The product of Ed Woodward, John Mehta, and those guys just handing contracts left, right, center.
Yeah,
like they just give them the contracts, they've landed, and so that's it. And it's difficult because they are not going to get that money anywhere else. And that is why these new guys have tried bringing in contracts on like incentive based contracts. So you have the baseline, which is moderate, 100, 150 is okay. Then whatever you would get on top will depend on your performance. But these guys were handing I'm sure Luke Shaw would be on like 150K. I wouldn't be
He's on
surprised.
200. He's on 200K or something. Almost 200K.
And this guy was injured for like 2 seasons and didn't play up to even 20 matches. He came back, played like between 5 and 10 matches, and the next thing you are handing him a new contract. How would we be able to shift Luke Shaw? So, and it will be very difficult to like Casemiro. We have a lot of, and happily, like Lindelof and everything. The lucky thing was their contracts had come to an end, and so we just left. So eventually, we would have to wait for all their contracts to come to an end, and then just
Exactly.
let them go.
Ah,
That's and it's very difficult to shift players when they are not going to get that. I mean, you and I, if we are working and our employer just wants to let us go because in the past 5 years they foolishly handed us huge contract, would you be willing to let it go? Like,
exactly.
sake
Very
of
good
It's
what?
a
question.
shame
Very
for
good.
it's a
Ask
shame
yourself,
for
would
it's
you
a
just
shame
leave
Sake
them?
for
of
all of
what?
you. Because see,
I don't blame them.
imagine Sancho taking 200
Yeah,
250 or 200.
250, two
Good.
hundred and fifty
Have you heard
thousand.
what the Italians are offering him? That
Uh
is actually his wage. Meaning he's not going to
100
get. He knows he's not going to get United
He's
wages
not going to.
exactly.
anyway.
So what
He's
he's
not
trying to
going
do
to.
is that now there are clubs or there are suitors who don't have a problem paying his transfer fees.
No, the fee is even small, 25 million. It's
Exactly.
not much.
But now the
It's the
issue is
wage.
how to clear that whole wage. And that is why,
It's
so
the wage.
if you want a clear example, the question was asked by Bobby said, if you want a clear example of why we are not able to sell players, just look at Sancho. If you want a clear example why we can't move Rashford on, or why we can't move players on, just look at
Uh-huh. Rush for
Rashford.
300,000.
I mean,
Why?
which club wants to go in there? So the issue of Rashford crowd is there is also the issue of the fee that
The
clubs
fee 40 million
and then the
before
wage. So
even the wage.
it's a complex
Do,
one.
do you know?
And
Do you know
and
what?
and
Do you know what I read
Mhm.
about him?
Mm-hmm.
That even if he's just to move on loan, you know
Yeah.
how much he saves the club just by moving on loan. Assuming Barca say we are taking your wages and paying you a small
Yeah.
loan fee, do you know how much the club would save? When I heard it, I was shocked. 17 million pounds.
Look at that.
I won't be
Look at that
surprised.
for a year.
Just like loan or like loan keke,
I
just go
won't
on.
be
It
surprised
saves
at
us
all.
17 million. So imagine he is sold to a club. And on top of that, they pay a transfer fee of 40 million pounds.
That's
It
a
means
lot.
Manchester United, it's a swing of almost
A lot.
60
And
million pounds on one player.
the purest of profits.
That's
You
the
get what I'm saying?
purest of profits. That's the
The
point.
purest of profits.
That's the point. The purest of
See,
profits.
we need to stop. See, because Liverpool are able to just sell players, right? Because look at the players they are selling.
Yeah.
The prices they are selling. Zaro Konsa
Yeah.
going for 30 million.
Mm,
I mean,
Because
what
he
has
earns
that
two
guy
cities.
done?
mm.
He
What
earns
has
two
that
cities.
guy
That's
done?
why.
Easy.
It's just
Easy to
silly.
put.
What
Easy to
has
put.
that guy done to have to be sold for 30 million? And we can't a whole Marcus
They sold
Rashford.
Sepp Vandenberg for over 20-25 million, and he had barely
Exactly.
played.
Because I'm sure the wage is like 10,000 pounds.
He had barely played. So it's so easy for teams to come look at a potential and then pick them.
That's why
Exactly.
that's why they have put Alejandro Garnacho on sale. See, I know the boy has attitude problems,
Yeah.
whatnot,
Yeah.
but he's also on just 50K a week.
Yeah.
No, but I think for his own, they had started getting some sense. So it was also kind of incentive based as well, based on
No, but
performance.
his base is 50 a week. And if
It's
you offer
50.
that base to anybody, any other top club in Europe, they'll go
Yeah.
like, come on, they can work with that. The only issue clubs
Yeah.
have now
It
is
is fee.
the attitude issue.
And the fee
I
Yeah.
as well.
mean, I do no the fee. See the fee. I know the fee won't be a problem for a lot of clubs because
Mhm.
I mean, if you're buying Kwanzaa for 40 million and you have to pay
Mm-hmm.
50 or 60 million for Alejandro
Well,
Garnacho,
it makes sense. I mean,
it makes sense.
I make
The
But
it.
man
the
is an
issue now,
attacker. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
the issue now, according to sources, is do you want to inherit the issues you've seen over the past 12
Mm,
months with this
mm,
player?
mm,
You see, that's the issue with bad attitude.
mm.
It's not
Mm-hmm.
just the issue of, oh, okay, now we want to get rid of you. It's not
Yeah.
every club that would want to handle the baggage because we see the baggage.
Mm,
We say now that we are comfortable with letting Alejandro Garnacho go, not
mm.
because he can't be a good player in the future. Let's be honest, he has the potential to be anything in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
despite his puff legacy, right? His numbers have always improved. He's just been a professional footballer for 2 years. What are we talking about?
Mm.
He's one of
Mm.
the best under 21s in the
And I
world.
think you want
That's true.
to, yeah.
No, let's
So
not
should
pitch him
Amorim have
against.
gone about it? Should the club have gone about it
No,
differently
no.
with
I
regards
agree
to
with
what
how
they
the
brought
club
to
is
the
dealing.
media? Mm-hmm.
I agree with how the club is dealing with the situation because over the past 12 months, I've been sitting here and saying that this behavior it's not going to change. It's only going to get worse.
Mm.
The higher his status in the team, the worse the situation becomes. We've seen these players over and over again, especially those who come from South America.
Mm.
I always
Yeah.
say to Kwame that I treat homegrown players who are British and local differently from foreign home-based players. I love homegrown players. I want if you are one of our own, right? I
Mhm.
will
Yeah.
defend you over the hill. I love Marcus Rashford. Everybody knows I love Marcus Rashford. I just know it is time for him to leave because a lot of bridges have been burnt. There are so many issues right now. I just don't see why he should be at a football club right now for
Yeah.
himself and for the sake of the football club as well. Sometimes when a story ends, it ends.
Yeah.
Let you have to move on. We also have to move
Move
on in
on.
a different direction. The issue with Alejandro Garnacho is I see these foreign players. As much as I loved Cristiano Ronaldo went back there, I never ever loved him like I loved the David Beckham because Cristiano Ronaldo would make you know from the very first day that you know what if I have a chance to go to Spain,
I'm bouncing. I'm
I'm
bouncing.
bouncing. Like they don't have that connection like how a local lad would
Mm.
have a connection.
Yeah.
The reason why Marcus Rashford
Yeah.
has still stayed here this long is because of the connection. Otherwise, he would have bounced a long time ago if he was Alejandro Garnacho.
Yeah.
Rashford would
Yeah.
have left 12 months ago. Should have left 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Because it was done. When he was crying after the FA Cup final, it
Mm.
was over.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for some reason, emotional reason, he still stayed at the football club unnecessarily.
Mm.
Alejandro Garnacho would make he would throw a tantrum. Look at what he did after the
Yeah.
the
The
cup final.
Europa League final.
Like I'm done. Like what the heck?
Let
I'm
me
done. He
let me
knows he's
let me
done.
let me let me let me let me get to Mami on her
Mm-hmm.
concluding remarks because our time I can see from our timer that we are almost there, Kwame. Mami,
Yeah.
so in conclusion. In conclusion, I mean, what's your general thought? The outgoings, what do you expect? What are some of the things you are looking out for before we bring this podcast to an end?
I think before preseason starts, we should have concluded. I need to see more action on the outgoings.
Mm.
I know we don't have much say in it. We need to have the buyers before we can sell.
Mm.
But we need to let them know either we won't take them back.
Mm-hmm.
They shouldn't even come preseason. Don't bring your bad belly and come and just destroy the aura around the club. We are in a good mood. Don't come and spoil the mood for
The
us.
vibe.
Keep
Don't gonna
your
spoil the
bad
vibe.
energy, your bad vibes there. Just find a new club. I hope we can be that ruthless,
Mm.
right? I
Yeah.
know it wouldn't happen with Garnacho because like homegrown. So they obviously wouldn't want to send that
Yeah.
message to the
That's the
youngsters
issue.
and all that. So
Yes.
they will probably bring them back. But let them know that we are active. I think they already know that Ganacho has been told to find a new club.
Yeah.
So how much more direct can we be?
Mm.
But we need to see more action. I'm not hearing anything on Luke Shaw leaving, and I'm worried. I'm not
Hmm.
hearing anything. I This week I learned Malaysia. We are trying, but there's no even Holland. Like we should get some of these Zool those teams, Nag Brother, young boys, just that team. Like
Can
leave
they
him in
pay them?
Holland.
That's the issue. Can they pay? The
Oh,
issue we've already spoken
Malaysia
about. Can they
wouldn't
pay?
be on match. Malaysia shouldn't be on match. They should just leave him there.
Knock brother.
We don't
That's
need
a
these
good one.
guys around. Yes.
Okay, all right.
Garnacho, we will sell him. They have to go. For all
Yeah.
those guys, I don't
Yeah.
need them back.
Mm.
Sancho, Garnacho, Rashford, Anthony. See, I'm not mad at Anthony because for all his issues, Anthony has really done well for himself. He has marketed himself,
Mm.
and he's trying his best to move away and continue and move on and whatever. So I'm just hoping he gets Betis fixed up and bring us the money, whatever money they are getting from
The
Atletico
Cardoso
Madrid
deal,
on
yes.
Cardoso, yeah, Johnny. They should just bring the money and let's move on. The long talk is not needed. Let's just get those, and then we can also move forward and get some
You're saying
players
somebody
in.
should bring their money, but you don't want to pay the small add-ons for Mbeumo.
That's what she has conceded. Mommy says we should
I
pay.
mean,
Mommy says
That's
we should pay.
that's your club
just
doesn't
pay
want to
that
pay. Your
money.
club doesn't want to pay. We
Just
should
pay
just
that
pay.
money. The money, see, it's not even coming to me. Whether they pay or not, the money is not coming to me. Why am I even worried? Let's just.
Mommy,
And
wrap it up.
Rashford should stop dealing with broke Barcelona. Isn't there any other club that will take him apart from Barcelona? What
Have
is
you
he
have you heard,
stressing
have
us?
you heard any other club make the 40 million bid for him and take that 325,000 pounds wages as well? Have you heard?
Mommy, wrap it
See,
up. Wrap it
we,
up.
we really we really should have sold the last match to Aston Villa. We
Yeah.
shot ourselves in the foot. We
You
should have
kick
let
them
them
out
go
of the
to the
Champions League.
Champions League.
You kick them out of the
Yeah.
Champions League. And you want them to pay 40 million to when they have PSR problems.
Kwame, wrap
That's
it
why
up.
we should have lost that match, so that then they would have gotten into the Champions League and then bought Rashford off our hands.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Uh,
Kwame,
so
in a
what
but
I
minute.
those guys
expect.
have to go. Yeah.
In a minute.
Okay.
In a minute.
What I expect is I expect Sancho and Anthony to leave before preseason. 100%. The rest I know they'll start preseason.
Yeah.
I know they'll start preseason. But we should also conclude the deal for Mbeumo and then move on to the striker. Because I know Anthony and Garnacho leaving is enough money. That's about, we're looking for about 60 million pounds, and then we'll take about 50 million pounds of their wages off the books. It's more than enough to get us a striker. Once the striker is sorted, preseason has started. The rest is just touches, midfielder touches, goalkeeper touches, everything else is touches.
Yeah, I hope Amorim is not just relaxing. Like I expect him to be working 24/7. Like there's no rest for the rookies.
We'll move to
We can't
Amaru.
go.
The first game of this, they will come and sit here and analyze the game.
It's preseason. It's preseason. Like
No, we don't do it preseason. No, we don't do it preseason. I want to see possession based, well coordinated football.
How can you play possession based? How
So,
can you play possession based with Bruno and Ugarte in
My
midfield?
time
How
is
is that even possible?
Is he not the one who came to take the job that he can do
my time
it?
is up. Thank you very much. Mami and Kwame. If I leave you guys, we'll go on and on and on for the next 3 hours and we'll finish. Thank you very much, Mami and Kwame, for being a part of the podcast today. My name is Kwame. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for liking, for commenting, and for sharing with your friends. We'll see you in the course of the week. We hope this one should take care of you for the weekend. Enjoy the weekend with this, all right? In the course of the week, we'll come back here on United and everything. So have a great time. Bye-bye.